Welcome to Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night, Nicaragua style. We are, how would we say Nicaragua with a good accent?
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. So good. Welcome to, we're going to do 4 surprising facts about Nicaragua. We have our friend Jairo here. He's a new friend. Here, come on up, Sela. And our friend Sela wants to say hello. Say hello. She's been dying to lick Jairo right in the face, and he's resisting. But we'll give her some food and get her out of here. Here, you get down.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. So we've got 4 questions, and we've got Jairo nervous. Jairo is a representative from an organization that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about fair trade a little bit too. So we're going to set you up by talking about Nicaragua with you. We'd love for you to ask questions. If you want to generate some questions, we want to talk about fair trade. We want to talk about Nicaragua. We want to talk about the fair trade event that Uniquely the Same is putting on in December in the Pittsburgh area of the United States. So anyway, we got lots to cover, but we want to get to the questions, the fun part for you all. So feel free to jump in. We post your comments. Oh, by the way, I'm Cal Clark, and I know very little about Nicaragua, so I'm as excited about this show as anyone. And this is Ida.
Hi, everybody.
Ida, how familiar are you with Nicaragua? Are you an expert?
I think I'm almost an expert, yes.
We see a lot of news about Nicaragua, right? You see it in the United States, and so you hear just the news side, but we're going to try to get into like some lighter and some under the cover stuff that not everyone would know, to try to get a little bit of, it's one of the more beautiful places in the world, and
Exactly.
So that's what we want to try to get to. But we're going to start by doing some questions with you all. So let's hop into the game. So here's the game. Jairo hasn't ever played with us before, but people out there, we have to give them like 15 seconds to respond, because it takes 15 seconds for the stuff we're doing to get out to them, and then for them to reply and get back.
Okay.
So even if we know the answer, we don't shout it out. We give like 15 seconds or so, okay. But we can talk about it a little bit during it. But here's the first question. So the first question is, according to National Geographic, what is the only freshwater lake where sharks live? The only freshwater lake in the world where sharks live. Is it Lake Nicaragua? Is it Lake Erie? Is it Lake Managua? Or is it Ricky Lake? Which of those 4? Do you know the answer to this? Do you think you know? So is this like something everyone in Nicaragua knows?
Yep.
Okay. So are these valid lakes in Nicaragua?
Yeah. 2 lakes, 2 big lakes.
There's 2 big ones.
Yeah.
Which one was the bigger lake?
Lake Nicaragua.
That's the big one.
Yes.
Yeah, so big one, maybe you get sharks in there. I don't know.
No.
Or the little one is Lake Managua.
Lake Managua.
Yeah, and so
It's not Ricky Lake.
No, it's not Ricky Lake.
Do
Do you know what Ricky Lake is?
No.
Ricky Lake is a television talk show host.
Oh, okay.
And so that everybody's pretty sure that it's not D.
Al is saying C. Lake Managua.
That's what he thinks.
And that's what Kristen and Joel was saying C as well.
So you know the answer to this. You feel pretty confident. What's the answer?
Lake Nicaragua.
Lake Nicaragua. Now, according to my sources, it's not Lake Nicaragua. So now we have it's Lake Managua.
No, it's Lake
I'm wrong.
Nicaragua. Yeah, Lake Nicaragua actually is the biggest lake in Central America.
Yeah.
It's the second in Latin America after Titicaca in Peru, and it's around 40 meters deep, the deepest part of the lake, and that's where the shark lives. And they're connected through Rio San Juan, the river that connects Lake Nicaragua, and the Atlantic Ocean.
So
that's what
this was from National Geographic Kids. They said Lake Managua.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're going with our.
Yes.
It's a smaller lake that it's connected by a river, and actually, because it's the big lake, it's connected to the ocean through the river.
Right.
That's why it's an easy route for them to go
back
and forth. Lake Managua, it's in northern part of the lake.
Too far away.
Yeah, and there's connected by a river that doesn't allow them to go.
All right, we want you to know.
Yeah.
We want you to know, National Geographic, that you have made a mistake on your website. We're convinced of it.
Yeah.
Now,
We're going with the rest
Recheck that.
I just want to know. I just want to ask. I mean, do you actually see sharks, or is this just sort of? Is this like a Loch Ness monster kind of story where it's
No.
sort of
Actually,
there?
yeah. Actually, you can see them. There is one part of in the city of Granada. Normally by the ports, people throw foods when the ships come to the ports, and then normally sometimes you can see the sharks.
There you go.
There.
Oh, okay.
And then for some fishes, at some point, they have caught.
Do you know what kind of sharks they are? Are they all different ones, or?
Not sure about what kind, but yeah.
All right, next question. So you've already proven yourself to be an expert. So the next question is this: what is the national sport of Nicaragua? What's the national sport? Is it lacrosse? Is it baseball? Is it soccer? Or is it avoiding the sharks? What is the sport? That's the question that we have out there for you. Everybody said C except for our guests, so we're all wrong. And well, now we'll see on this one. So here's another one. Here's my question. How do you know what the national sport of a country is? Like, does somebody declare the national sport?
Because maybe they play the most.
Just the most popular one?
The most popular.
So football, American football would be the national sport in the United States, because that's the one I think that the most people are watching, and that makes the most money. Although basketball and baseball certainly challenge it. But so do you know the answer to this one too?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see if anybody out there knows what the national sport is.
Well, I've got a C, but I don't know if it's from the last question or not.
Kelly's
saying
question
B.
2. 2C, something like that.
Kelly's saying B, baseball.
Oh, baseball. Yeah, so lacrosse. Can you eliminate one of these? Do they play all these sports in Nicaragua?
Actually, yeah, we play baseball and soccer. But,
Mostly, not so much lacrosse.
No.
And you avoid sharks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there, we've
Try to
narrowed it
avoid
down
sharks,
for you.
yeah.
So we've narrowed it down. Yeah, that one we're gonna. But so it's either B or C is going to be your final answer out there. So we'll just see, is anybody weighing in. When you do put your answer in, please put the question number and the answer. So say 2, either B or C in this case. But we're going to go ahead without you if nobody's going to respond at this point. So what is the answer?
It's baseball.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's not. It's see, if I were as an American, I would think automatically Central American country. It's got to be soccer, right? It's got.
Yeah, it depends each country. For example, Nicaragua is not. It's well known because we play a lot of baseball, and actually in all of the Latin American games that we participate, Nicaragua always win. And depending on what country, because if you go to Costa Rica is well known because they play soccer.
Yeah.
Not much baseball, but Nicaragua, it's definitely baseball.
I'm not enough of a baseball fan, but I'm pretty sure there are Nicaraguan baseball players. That play
actually,
in the
there
United
are many players that they're playing in different teams here in the States.
Yeah. Does anybody follow American baseball in Nicaragua?
Maybe the baseball fan,
Like a real fan might.
Yeah, real fan.
Might know about the
baseball,
Yankees or something like
sure.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. By the way, Amy is with us today. She's off camera here, and she's leaving. She is part of
Thank you for coming.
of Flatboat Fair Traders, and she just stopped in for a few minutes. She's going to come back later. So anyway, nice to see you, Amy. Bye. So let's move on. So that's 2 surprising questions. Let's get to the third one. The third one is this: which of the following animals are not native to Nicaragua? Which of the following animals are not native? So you can find all of these animals except for one in Nicaragua. So the 3-toed sloth, Joffrey's spider monkeys, not just any spider monkeys,
But
Joffrey's spider monkeys. The duck-billed platypus, which is a favorite of every child to realize that there's a platypus that has a duck nose on it. The northern tamandua anteater. Tamandua, I don't know that one very well. And the armadillo.
Okay, Al is saying 3E.
Which one of those do you think is the one that is not in Nicaraguan? Is this one that jumps off the page to you? You think you know? They're never easy. And apparently sometimes our answers are just wrong.
Because we have...
Oops, we'll switch it. So any of those make sense?
Yeah, definitely there are not native.
You know of a couple that are native at least, and you'd be guessing on maybe the final answer.
Yes,
you have it narrowed down to a couple.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: we don't always have our answers right. So,
this is true.
But I can tell you for sure what's animal. We don't have it in Nicaragua. I know. So
you can. You know that.
Yeah.
So he's ready. So,
so we have two people saying E and one person saying C. Two people are saying armadillo and one is saying duck-billed platypus.
Who's saying duck-billed platypus?
Joel. And Al Kunzel and Kristen Shaw is saying E.
All right, so let's see. Let's see.
Kristen Shaw Farrow. I should say.
That's right. Kristen
Sorry,
Shaw.
Kristen.
Hey, Kristen. By the way, I noticed you made some comments last week that we didn't see and respond to, and so please, if we missed your comments, like say, hey, make sure you pay attention to my comment or whatever. But we missed a couple last week that came from Kristen. I can't even remember what they were now, but she was. She was on for some of the show, but I wanted to just mention that.
Sorry about that, Kristen.
All right, Hyro. So, what do you think? What's the
It is the
word?
duck-billed platypus.
The duck. All the others are there.
Yes,
is what you're saying.
Yes, we have all the others.
Yeah, three-toed sloth, Jeffrey's spider monkeys. There's the duck-billed platypus, as it turns out, is only located in one place in the world. It's in Tasmania. It's off the coast of Tasmania. So it's just in that very little narrow area. So if that question ever comes up, it's none of those places. Did you know that, Ida? I should ask you for your answer.
That's what I was afraid. I was really holding my breath, being so grateful that I wasn't getting asked these questions this week.
But armadillo, that's a surprising one.
Oh no, we have a lot of armadillo.
We
have a lot.
And also anteaters.
We do have anteaters.
Anteaters aren't surprising to me, but armadillos it was a surprise to me that you would have.
Actually, Nicaragua is known as the land of lakes and volcanoes, and where I live, this town, it's a national reserve, and it's a volcano, but now it's more like a national park, and then you can find all those animals there. Wow. The three-toed sloth and the monkey. The anteater and armadillo there everywhere.
So there are just monkeys in the wild.
Yes.
That you could come across.
If you go to the south of the country, there is a national reserve there as well.
Wow.
You can find
do people go? Is that like a sightseeing thing to go see the monkeys, or?
There is a group of islands in Lake Nicaragua. Actually, the tour operators they take a lot of tourists there, and there's one island. It's called the Monkey Island. Because you're gonna see all the spider monkeys there.
Huh. Yeah. That's interesting. All right. So you're on a roll. So you were worried about these questions. See, these are like the easiest questions you could imagine, right? But we're trying to stump you on them.
Okay.
So I thought maybe I could get you on that one. But you knew. Okay. So it is. It's the duck-billed platypus. I forgot to give the answer. So this one is hard because there's 4 facts in here. Okay. And the question is, which one is not true about Nicaragua? I'm going to put it up in big because it's so many words so that people can read it. Nicaragua has the world's only dual volcano that is fed by 2 separate flows of magma. It's not just a dual volcano, but it comes from 2 separate flows. All right, so that's one question. Is that true or false? Nicaragua has a coast named after mosquitoes. It's called Mosquito Coast. It's named after the mosquito. And then Nicaragua elected the first female head of state in all of the Americas. So that's a fact or not a fact. One of these is wrong. Nicaragua has the lowest crime rate of any Central American country. Those are the 4 facts that we believe are true. And let me tell you, we're trying to be as tricky as possible on these as we could.
I can see that. I can see that already. I'm now thinking twice.
So this was the one. We didn't want you to just have a drop kick on every question. We're trying to. So one of these is a trick question. You just got to figure out which one. So these are all. One of these is not true, and the others are. Believe it or not. So Al says that C is not true. That it doesn't have the lowest crime rate. So does Kathy. The
question said it's not true.
That's right.
It's
That's
not
right.
true.
The question is, which one is wrong? Which one of these is
exactly.
not a fact?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people saying
Everybody
C.
says that it's not the lowest crime rate.
One person is saying D.
So somebody said a couple C's. I see 2 C's. Nicaragua elected the first female head of state in the Americas. That doesn't seem reasonable to a couple people. So everybody's clustered around C or D. So Ida, what would your?
We have 4 C's and 1 D. What was my
Where would
answer?
Where would you head on this one? Do you know it? Do you?
I do know it.
Oh, okay.
But you know what my go-to answer
Ida
always
did some
is.
research on it. B. Ida always says B when she doesn't know the
If
answer.
I don't know, I
she
just say
goes with
B. But
So-
it works out well for me most times.
So, what would your guess be? Which one of these is not true?
For me, it's the first one, A.
Nicaragua has the world's only, because you heard me qualify it about the 2 flows of magma.
Yeah.
So let's
Because
see.
we do have a mosquito coast. It's in the Atlantic coast in Nicaragua, and it was named after mosquitoes. When the English came to our coast, they were like staying there in that area. There were a lot of mosquitoes there.
Oh, thank you.
And then that's why they call it the mosquito coast.
Okay, so what the story that you just told is that the mosquitoes. What are the mosquitoes? Tell me what mosquitoes are.
Sorry, what was?
What is a mosquito? What are mosquitoes?
Oh yeah, well this insect, that.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So that's the part of it that's not true. That it's actually not named after the insect. It's named after a tribe called the mosquitoes.
Well, actually, that's what I know. Like, it's because it's mosquito, and now, of course, they call it, because the word it's in Spanish. If you say mosquito, and in Spanish it's mosquito, but it's also known today not like mosquito, like mosquitia. But in fact, the fact is that that's what I knew.
It's
that's
the same
when
thing.
the English came to this area, and there were a lot of mosquito. They call it the mosquito coast. But now it was not. Doesn't sound like right mosquito after the insect. So then it's called mosquito for all of the people who live in that area.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's well known that it was because of mosquitoes.
Well,
but I don't know.
What we heard that is interesting.
He's good
So
speaking around it.
we do great research here.
We
so
do.
I'm confident in our research that there's
Thousands
a
of
tribe
hours.
called the mosquitoes, and it's actually named after that. And it's the Americans or the British the Americans that messed it up. They misunderstood it.
Okay.
And they then they changed the whole myth of what it's actually named after. It's actually named after the people, the mosquito, however you said it, mosquitoes with a K. Is that how you spell it?
Mosquitia, yeah.
M-I-S, and then we hear that as mosquito, and we said, oh, there's mosquitoes.
Oh, okay. Okay, then the community is Misquitos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Misquitos.
There you go.
That's the community Misquito.
So that's my understanding. Now you
Okay.
can go check me out whether that's
Okay.
really true. Go back home and say.
I'll double check that one.
But I do think
No, for sure, the community, they're well known, the Atlantic coast in Nicaragua, the Misquitos community there.
Yeah, there's definitely a mosquitoes coast. So it's just that one little tricky thing, and I didn't even phrase the thing very well when I looked at the question. But anyway, that's
you were trying to make it as tricky as you could humanly make it, and you managed to do that.
So those are our 4 surprising questions, and they were particularly surprising because 2 of them we're not even sure of the answers.
Welcome to Uniquely the Same. That's right.
So we learned. Oops, I messed my slide up here. So I missed this slide to make the change. We learned a little bit about your name. So just tell our audience about names. And so we wrote Jairo Rivas.
Yes.
But you came in and corrected us, which we'll correct on.
Yeah, well, my name is Jairo Javier Tenorio Rivas. Normally in Nicaragua, every person, we have 2 names and 2 last names. 2 names, and then our first last name, it's after our father, and then our second last name is after our mother. And then when we have children's, then our children will carry my last name, and then the mother's name, and then so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you have two first names?
Yes.
So you have a first.
Oh, we
first
say
name?
first name, second name. My
Yeah.
first name is Jairo.
Yeah.
My second name is Javier. For some people, it's Xavier,
Yep.
but in Spanish it's Javier.
Yep.
And then my first last name, Tenorio, and my second last name, Rivas.
What a great place! You get 4 names there.
Yes, 4 names.
That means like if you're in a crowd, people could call any one of 4 names out, and
Yeah, actually, sometimes, because it's common that people will call you by your first name. Just for example, like me, will call me Jairo. But there are sometimes some people that they call you by your second name, and if you're not used to hear your second name and they're calling you, you don't even pay attention. But they're calling you. There's a second name.
The important thing
funny.
is, what does your mother call you when she's angry at you? You get all 4 names at once? Or
Yeah, it could be like...
do you have that
she
habit when
mentioned-
somebody's really trying? When your mom's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
trying-
Normally, if she mentioned your 4 names, then
You're in
something
trouble.
serious happening. You are in trouble, definitely.
So that's a universal issue.
It's a universal issue, definitely.
That's mothers across the
Exactly.
world.
Yes.
I get it.
So, Jairo, you're listed there. It says "Women of the Cloud Forest," and so you're a representative of Women of the Cloud Forest.
Yes.
So tell us about that. What does that mean, or what's?
Okay. I've been working with Women of the Cloud Forest and Amy Sobkovian, her husband, who founded this organization, for around 10 years now in Nicaragua. They actually started in Costa Rica 15 years ago when they got married. That's what they told me. They moved to Costa Rica because they wanted to learn Spanish. And when they were living there, they founded a small group of women in Monteverde in Costa Rica, which is a higher elevation. It's called Cloud Forest. That's how the name come from. It was a group of women of the Cloud Forest up in Monteverde in Costa Rica. So they were working different handicraft like jewelry, hand embroidery. But with the time, it's a touristic area in that place. So then she was seeing some different people that were selling handicraft in Costa Rica, and then she was asking, where are they from? Nicaragua. And then she decided, well, I would like to visit Nicaragua. And as well, her purpose as well was to find more women, to empower, because of her name and her purpose, to empower women, to work with different areas. So she was looking for different women in Nicaragua, artisan women, and then she ended up in my town. At that time, I used to work with the artisan in my community. I will make a pause in this time to talk about my town and see how she came to my town, because the town where I live, it's named San Juan de Oriente. It's around 45 minutes south of the capital, Managua. And it's a small town, around 88,000 people in this community, and around 80% of the population work pottery. This is a small family workshops, and if you go to the town, you're going to see every house they're working pottery. And then that's how Amy came to my community. At that time, I was working, supporting the community, like when tourists come to the town and they want to buy, I was helping them by translating, and do the sales. So they were calling me, can you come and help me to translate, do my sales? And then at that time as well, I was working on packing and shipping the products from the community to a different part of the world. And then when Amy came and she was finding out about the products and say, how can I send these products from here? Well, everybody, it's a small town, everybody knows me there. And then they were saying, well, we know the person who can do that. And then they called me, and then I was talking to Amy, and then that's how everything started. We just made that connection.
And this was 10 years ago.
Around 10 years ago, yes.
Now, have you always been from the town? You mentioned the town. You were saying that it's not far from your town, that you can go out and there's a protected land area there.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
Yes.
That's the same town?
Yeah,
you're
actually,
talking about?
here's the town, and we have like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It's this reserve, the Volcán Mombacho.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a national park. Then you can go south the town, and then we have Laguna de Apoyo. It's a saltwater lake.
Yeah.
It's a volcanic lake, actually. Laguna de Apoyo, which is just like 20 minutes, half an hour away from where I live.
I see.
Yeah.
And so how big is the town?
Around 8,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a small town.
It's actually because the head city it's Masaya.
Mm-hmm.
It's the city located south of Managua, And then this city has 9 towns, around the area. So, and we are one of those towns. We are the smallest one. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, so let's talk about fair trade a little bit, because I think a lot of people don't understand. Like even, do you know what wow, I can't even remember the word for it now. A flea market. Do you know what a flea market is in the United States? So we have these flea markets. So somebody said to me, I just thought a fair trade was the same as a flea market. And it's not the same thing exactly. So can you help straighten us out on what fair trade really is?
Well, I will start by saying what's the regular way to make business and what people know around the world, the formal way to make businesses. And I will tell you from my experience before to know Amy, and then when she brought that concept, which is a new concept. It was a new concept for me and for many of us. And I will say maybe today it's a new concept for everybody, for some people as well. And then, at that time there were different businesses coming to our town and try to make businesses. But the normal way, like any investor, any business people, that's the name said, they want to make business, they want to make profit.
Right.
But it's more based on business and make money and not their relationship with the artisans, And then when Amy came and she brought this concept, it was different, because the way to make businesses is not like she's going to come and say, I'm going to buy this product and I'm going to give you this, whatever I want to pay, Most of the time in our communities, in developing countries, normally what happens is our artisans, they live, I'll say it in this way, it's like a subsistence salaries, and then they sell for the day. They say, well, I have nothing today. Whatever I can get for the food, for the family, that's good. That's a good income. But that's no way to make it sustainable in time.
Yeah.
So the idea was to come to a community and visit an artist and say, I want to have a long-term business relationship. And to be able to do that, the first things that we do down there is to have a cost analysis. We sit down with the artisans. Well, you see all the 9 principles of fair trade. And I will say, I will make a summary of the most important is have a dialogue, have transparency, and respect. Because when you come and you say, hey, if you want to sell 100 pieces, I'm going to give you this, if you want. Because I want to make business, I want to make money. But then there is okay, I haven't sold anything. I haven't sold anything. Yeah, you can take it. But you're not helping the artisan at the end, because probably he's making money for the day, but at the end he's not making any profit out of it, because it's going to be under the line cost.
Right.
Then, so that's the first thing we do. We have a cost analysis, and we determine what's the cost to produce the product. And then based on what the markets require here and the different market where it goes, then we're going to see what's going to be the profit for the artisan, so that he can still make the product. The next time he's going to be able to replicate that product again, and he's going to make a profit out of it. And then that's going to help to grow, the business for this artist. And then the other end as well, it has to be, that's what Amy's job is here, to determine what are the costs here, what's the price to sell. She's now selling in two ways. It's wholesale and retails, at the fairs. So that's the way. The idea is to provide a stable order every month. So far, we have around 5 to 6 months during a year that we're providing stable jobs to the artisans. We're providing a stable order, constant order every month. So and that's the idea. So then they can sell, and then you can see that they still have money left. So they can reinvest in their families, or they can reinvest in their workshop. So it's a different approach to make businesses fair trade, and that's the word said. No, it's to be fair, because it has to be fair for the artisan. It has to be fair for the other end.
So instead of just working every day to make that day's food, now basically you're building a relationship with people to help them know about long-term planning and work through it, and have a real business mindset of how do we make this sustainable?
Yeah, and actually it's not only that as well. We have a business session with the artisans, and we teach them how they can manage their workshop. Because at the end, most of the time, even the artisans, they don't know the real cost to produce something. And when anybody come to the town and they say, how much is this product? It depends. They look at the face and say, X. It depends, who's coming and buying.
Sure.
But at the end, they don't know for sure if they are selling at a good price on the real cost. They don't even know that. So that's our job, to let them know what's the real cost to produce, and then how much money they're gonna make out of that.
Isn't it a bit of an issue if everyone is selling pottery in the town? Like didn't you say like 80% of the people are doing pottery?
Mm-hmm.
Like how many? The other 20% are the buyer. Mm-hmm. Like who are the buyers?
Exactly. Then it used to be, some years ago that when tourism in Nicaragua was really good. We are located in this touristic area of the country, where normally when the cruise ship come to the country and tour operators, they all take that route, and our town is one of those. So then tourists used to come to the town and buy pottery. You're gonna see like every house, it's a family workshop, but at the same time they have the workshop and they have the store, which is a small display where they have all of the products. So anyone coming to the town can come and buy it right there. There are other people that go to the market and sell it to different shops so they can resell the products. And there are some other artisans that they have buyers like Women of the Cloud Forest. We have a group of artisans in this community that we are buying from them. So it depends sometimes as well the quality, and skills that every artisan have, because there are different levels from the high-end pieces to the lower level of quality. So then everyone fit in some area of the market, in different niche of the markets.
That's great.
That's the way how it
We're
works.
going to talk to Jairo some more on Facebook after the break here, but we want to move on with the show and just do a couple more things that we do regularly as a part of our Facebook group. So let's move on to that. So we'll come back to you in just a minute. But what we want to do is we want to move on to Ida's saying of the week. We have a saying. Ida posts every week. She posts a inspirational saying, and they aren't always scripture, but they're usually like foundation in Christian thoughts. And so this is Ida's saying of the week. So Ida, we're going to let you take it over.
For those of you that follow our posts, a lot of times I use photos that were created by Andrea Duncan, a friend of mine who has enjoyed the journey photographs. And this photograph in the back is of particular significance because she saves photographs that have hearts that just show up on them, and she feels like it's a sign from her loved ones. So the saying that goes with this photo this week is, what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. So I think it's really important to know that what you do and how you behave and how you love one another is more impactful than the things that you provide or the things that you accumulate. So that's my saying for this week.
Great, thanks, Ida.
You're welcome.
We also want to do a joke of the week. This week, this is not Carol and Leah.
Oh no!
That was a few weeks ago. This is.
Oops. Sorry, Jerry.
This is Jerry Ritchie. I think the next slide has his name properly on it, so we'll get to that one as quickly as we can. But here's the joke. The joke.
Are you ready for this,
Jerry?
This is
gonna,
bad.
I'll be interested if this even translates well.
Yeah, we'll see.
But here we go. So the joke is: what does an angry pepper do? What does an angry pepper do?
Pepperoni.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. No, the guess is it gets jalapeno face. Jalapeno face.
Oh no. Oh, it really is bad.
Oh, that's a good play on words. Jalapeno. That's a perfect dad joke.
Jalapeno face. Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's Kevin Sloniker. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for
Kevin.
dropping by. Kevin's got a picture of his dog. I forgot his dog's name now. But anyway, glad to see you here.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kevin.
So that's our joke of the week, and that's our fun.
That's okay.
Was that fun for you?
Last week we did the joke off, and there were a few funny jokes, I think, last week. That one is not.
Last week we told jokes for 30 seconds, non sequiturs, like they just joke to joke to joke. No, nothing in common about them. And we got to see.
It worked out all right.
Ida won. Ida was the
I
funniest.
did win.
And that's the problem because I write the jokes on the show, so.
I'm just better at telling them.
So we need for you all to send in jokes so that we can put them in
Please
words
do.
of other people's mouths. And I think that's it for YouTube. We're gonna have to say see you later to our YouTube folks. The show will continue on Facebook, but the YouTube broadcast is about to end. Jairo, one of the sayings that we have in Uniquely the Same, we always end our show with. So we're actually going to continue the show, but we end it here for half of our audience. And what we say is, I'm uniquely the same. You're uniquely the same. Together, we can change the world. We will see you next week.
Bye.